All right, all right. So we are live now. I am so excited about doing this wonderful webinar. So first, let's talk to our attendees. Everyone that is attending this webinar, please type in and tell us where you're from, what city and state you're from. I'm looking forward to it. I do want to quickly give a shout out to Randy and Adam. Adam, thank you so much for doing this for us, but we've got everyone, people from Austin, Raleigh, North Carolina, West Union, Ohio. Keep them coming. Ventura, California. Look at that, Randy. We've got Port St. Lucia.
Where's my Italians at?
Yeah, and where's our Californians at? Come on, guys. Seattle, Fairfield. Wow. See, look at that. Dean, I know where you're from all the way from the Philippines. That's where you're from.
Mark, I was thinking about Raleigh, North Carolina the other day. I was listening to that P.D. Pablo song in the gym.
Well, sunny Orlando, Newport. All right. Oh, we've got someone from San Jose right on the corner right here. So welcome, Daryl Johnson. Welcome, Adam Frank. Thank you so much for doing this. Our BBQ guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to dive into that too. And of course, Randy, thank you. You're amazing what you do. To all our guests that are chiming in right now, chiming in.
You can't avoid it. You can't avoid it.
You can't avoid the word. Please know that if you do need to leave early, we do have it recorded and you can find us on YouTube channel. Please do subscribe on LabCoatAgents YouTube. All right, let's take it away. Adam Frank, you're the man of the hour. Let's talk about your imports, your exports, CRM, Chime, all the good knowledge that you have to share with us. Take it away.
All right, sounds good. Thanks everybody for having me. So I'm going to cover the simple part of this really quickly. It's easier to export than it is to import just because there's less steps. But in the Chime system, you're going to click on settings and then you're going to click on lead export, and you can basically do you can do this one of two ways. You can either grab your entire database, which if you look in the bottom right hand corner underneath the dialer and the chat, it's just hiding right here. So when you click on that button, it will basically export your entire database, and Chime is going to send you an email when the CSV file spreadsheet is ready to be downloaded. It will just email you a link and you can grab that off the server and you have your entire database in a spreadsheet organized. The other method to do it is based on search criteria, which is really, really good. I really like this about Chime. You can pick group, lead type, registration time, agent or assistant that's assigned to it, pipeline, certain tags, more than one tag if you want to, as well as sources. So you can really get pretty granular, and especially if you just have a single agent, like let's say I just want to pull people from the lead pond, I'm going to export the lead pond. And I'm going to, I got 30 leads here. These are dead leads. I'm going to pull 30 out and I'm going to hand them to the new agent in the office to kind of throw them some bone. Hey, here's 30 people, call them and work them and see what you can get out of it. It's pretty much in a nutshell how to export the different options in there. Like I said, Chime makes it really simple in the system to do this just by following those steps. If you're ever stuck on something, you can go up to this question mark here and then go to the help center and then type in the search bar here, export, and it will give you a suggestion and it'll basically walk you through exactly what I just told you. And here's a copy of the email that it says, private lead rules and things like that. So if you need to have an external or like a sample of an export file here, you can just click on the bottom here and export that, pop it open, and you can have this. This leads into my next step, which is basically when you have a previous CRM and you're moving into Chime. Chime makes this really easy to do. It's more involved because it's just import versus export. And really what we're doing is we're formatting the headers or the column titles right here. What I suggest to do first is to, so that spreadsheet probably didn't show up on the screen share, but it will over here. Basically what I just downloaded, it looks exactly like this. So this is a list of all the different headers on the spreadsheet column here that Chime uses. And what happens is we're going to take, these are the titles for the different fields that Chime refers to. And then we have our previous CRM that is going to call something different. So like and you're gonna see this here. So I switched over from kvCORE to Chime a little over a year ago. So I'm gonna use those two. I'm most familiar with those platforms as the example here.
Yeah, and I was just about to ask you that, Adam. Are you taking the leads from obviously a different CRM and importing them here and having these columns? Can you add to these columns then at that time?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, if you have some different rows that you have of you can basically have this format, and you can just copy and paste different leads as long as they line up with the columns here. You can add these in here, just a simple copy and paste. So if you end up exporting your database in separate ways, here's my buyers, here's my sellers, here's my renters, here's my sphere, those kind of things, you can organize them one by one, then combine them to a singular CSV spreadsheet file, and then import that all in one to Chime. I know it's going to come up. I haven't seen a lot of limitations on the quantity of lead import to Chime. The largest database that I've personally held as an import into Chime, I did a setup for somebody and helped them organize their import beforehand, and they were just over 600,000 leads. So
what?
Chime can handle it, no problem. Don't worry about it. It's good. I actually got one. I got one customer I'm speaking with right now. Their database import is probably going to be between 1.1 and 1.2 million people. So Chime can handle it. Don't even sweat it. So if you got,
I didn't even know that there were residential realtors who had a database of over 1 million people.
Yeah, I've got one of the customer that I'm going to be working with. They have a database of every rental property owner in their entire state. And that list alone is a little over 400,000 people. So,
oh wow, that is
it can climb pretty good. So,
yeah, that's crazy. So tell us a little bit about like some of the best practices to prepare for an import, because I know this part of switching CRMs is often the most terrifying part. The thing that keeps people from actually moving from one CRM to another, even when they know they need to do it. So how can you prepare? How can you put yourself in the best position possible to successfully import leads into your new CRM?
So the best thing that you can do, the easiest way to do this is to match the terms of what I call the destination CRM, which in this case is Chime. So we're importing into Chime. We need to take the database from where we're coming from, and we need to take German and talk Chinese. We need to take kvCORE language, and we need to talk Chime language, basically. Mm-hmm. So the way we do this to illustrate here on this spreadsheet, this is what Chime labels their different fields, and there's a bunch of them. Chime is a very detailed system, and I do have these prepped. So we're just going to focus on some main ones here: pipeline, group, tag, source, and note. And then what kvCORE calls them is status, deal type. We have source, agent notes, and then I believe there's one way down here. Maybe I didn't mark it here, but so there's a little bit different language. Again, kvCORE doesn't have groups, so that's an issue that we have to address. And then status is basically where they are, the point at which they are in the transaction, and Chime refers to that as a pipeline. So what it looks like, so basically what I do is I go to this help thing here and export this file, which is just going to be the headers in Chime. And this is what I do. Copy everything here in row 1 all the way over. And then what we're going to do is on I purposely separated this. So this is going to be my import here. Row 2 is from kvCORE. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come up here in row 1. This is going to be originally it's like row 1 is going to start here. So you just right click and insert row like this, and then right here paste it, and now everything that I just copied over is pasted from Chime right over on top of here. I'm going to back that out so it looks. So this is the end result. So now I have the Chime here is row 1 and the kvCORE is row 2. Mm-hmm. The colors here are here to just kind of illustrate and speed this up. So I've already mapped out a few of these where the column information, this is an actual export from my kvCORE. So what kvCORE calls a deal type, that's actually the lead type. So Chime calls it this, and kvCORE calls it this. I need everything right here to match what Chime calls it. So this is kind of like that game of the kid of matching. It's not always like everything lined up left and right, left and right, left and right. You've got to pick from over here and grab from over here. So this is where the colors
so Adam, I think there is some audio cracking noise going on. Can you kind of adjust your audio a little bit? I don't know if everyone is having that issue. Randy, are you having issues listening?
I heard a little bit in there.
All right.
Okay.
It's probably, there's probably not much that I can do because of the laptop microphone. I don't have my external with me, so.
Okay, before you continue, Randy, can you just kind of talk a little bit, give an overview about what Chime is all about, just for everyone watching out there knows a little bit about Chime?
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with Chime, we are an IDX CRM solution. We offer lead generation, but really where we put our flag in the ground and say this is what we're best at doing is the lead conversion space. And kind of our flagship product in this space now is our AI assistant, right? So I know Adam uses the AI assistant as well, so I'd love to hear him talk about it. But what is so unique about Chime and our AI assistant is we're the first company in this space to use Google's machine learning algorithm in order to build a chatbot or AI assistant natively in-house, right? So it's something that we own and we've built.
That is so cool. I use AI too, and I'm seeing so many results from it. Even the smart plans and the AI, I'm so ready to like just have Adam dive into that as well. But you know, guys, before we continue, I apologize, Adam. I should have introduced you a little bit more. Basically, let me just tell you who this guy is. Obviously, he started his career in 2018, and he comes from kvCORE, as he's been talking about, right? He's mainly done kvCORE CRM platform setup and training and all that good stuff. And he dove right into our Chime system here. And, you know, he's done 98% automation in every lead flow possible, right, Adam? Which is so amazing. And then, of course, his concepts are cascading with follow-ups and AI assistant and smart plans. And of course, the barbecue follow-up, which I am eager to learn, you guys. I really am. So go ahead, Adam.
All right, thank you for, sorry about the audio issues. It's my laptop here. But so basically what we're doing here is we're matching up again. Row 2 is where we came from, and row 1 is where we want it to say. Mm-hmm. And all simply is we're just gonna overwrite on line 2, on row 2, whatever it is. So deal type, we need that to be lead type. So you come in here, that's all you do. Spelling error here. That's what you do. This right here is called source. So then we're going to look up on row 1. That's what Chime calls it. We don't need to change that. Another thing, basically, you just kind of go over here. So this status, this is called a pipeline in Chime. That's our pipeline. And then you can see here, well, we don't call, Chime doesn't have, Chime doesn't really have a native pipeline called archived. So if we don't want this to continue to be in Chime, like setting up your destination groups and pipelines especially is going to be beneficial before you import, because then you can pick where it goes. And how you pick where it goes is by adjusting your spreadsheet. So instead of archived, we're going to call this, I have a not ready pipeline, which is basically they're beyond 90 days out. They're not ready, it's fine. The quick trick to do this works in Google Sheets like I'm using now. This also works in Excel. And if I'm on the PC, if you're on a Mac, anytime I say control, just think command in the button. So right here, we're going to pick on, we're going to highlight this column. We're going to hit Control F, which is going to bounce up over here. And then the 3 dots in Excel, it's just going to pop up like this anyways. So what we want to do is we want to find archived. This term, so anytime it shows archived, we're going to replace it with not ready. And then watch this column as I'm hitting this button here. All of these archived, there's only 3 of them in here. That's going to change to not ready as soon as I click replace all. Watch. Just changed it. So if you've got 10,000 rows, all 10,000 just changed like that in bulk. So going through and changing the terminology from your spreadsheet to match what it's going to be in Chime, using the Chime language, the Chime terms, that is super important to do. And then once you do that, you basically have a clean spreadsheet, and you can toggle back over here and import that just by choose files. And I'm just going to grab some whatever random spreadsheet that pops up here. So this is the headers. Oh yeah, the headers here. Let me grab something else. Let's do this one here. So we're going to grab this here, and then you can see this is the field matching. And you're basically just grabbing the name. Okay, yep, that matches. This is what Chime calls it, and this is what the file says. A really nice trick to use is Chime makes it super easy. Just show unmatched columns only. Okay, now I gotta figure this out. This one rating. Okay, well, we're gonna edit this. I don't want to import that. That doesn't mean anything. Select field for LinkedIn. That really doesn't give me any value here. Primary city. Okay, well, what are we gonna call that? And then you just pick what is here. If you don't see it, Chime allows you to make a new custom field and basically say, hey, this is a field is LCA test. The data type is it's a text field. Add that in here, and we just added that, and now I can select that as my field to show that in there. Now it's gone because it doesn't. It's matched now. I don't need to unmatch anything. Occupation, I don't need to know. Don't import.
Adam, before you move on, we have a question from Sheila Marsh asking, how do you know what the terminology is in Chime?
The best thing so you're looking in your people page, what I like to call my people base, and you're basically just looking at these headers right in here, which you can find in the columns. So here's a column list, and you can also look for that when you do when you download that test. When you download that test export from the help page, these right here are the headers that you're going to use for that, the fields. So if you don't have a field, if you don't know what the name of it is, you can always add it in there, and Chime will match it up with that field.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend using that test download, because it looked like there was probably about 58 some odd fields.
Yeah, there's a lot in here. It goes for a while. It goes on for days.
So that way you can get everything. But this is really good information to make sure you get as much data as you can, right? Because data slippage can be tough. But if you're able to match up these columns, then you can ensure that you're getting as much data as you possibly can from one platform into the next.
And you don't want to lose the data. I think, when we switched over, there was so much manual data entry that my assistants were doing because of the integration felt so daunting. And I wish I had known this ahead or before, right? I think that would have made it so easy because we were coming from FirePoint, not kvCORE, but from FirePoint onto Chime. So, taking and capturing all the notes and all the different tags that we had into Chime was a little bit of a challenge, but this is amazing. This is really.
And then once you basically match everything and call everything what you need to. The nice thing in Chime that is pretty. I've done imports and exports from different CRMs in the last 2.5 years. Chime is one of the very few that actually allow multiple notes to be imported. Usually it's like a one and done thing. In Chime, you can actually grab, so like, let's say the birthday or, like this agency ID or something like that. You just want to add a few notes from different columns. Chime will allow you to do that. You just keep picking note. It's one of the fields that you can actually have duplicates of in an import. So utilize that to your advantage. If you don't know where to put it, but you don't want to lose that data, just tell Chime it's a note, and Chime will bring it in for you. No big deal.
Oh, Chime does that automatically.
Yeah, you can select multiple fields for notes. So you can have more than one data field or data cell in your spreadsheet called a note. So if you have like, you can basically combine, say, 2 or 3 or 4 different cells on your spreadsheet and tell Chime, hey, these are all a note, and it will all bring it in as a singular note and import it in bulk that way.
Wow. Talk to us a little bit about AI and how that is, that is actually helping us with all of this, the AI component as well as the smart plan components. I think those are the key to Chime. Those are the foundational pieces as well to Chime's databases, right? As a CRM,
Yes.
correct, Andy? Yeah.
Yep. So then, and real quick, the next step here, you just go next, and then this gives you some important options about whether to import them as a team lead or a private lead, add them to a specific group if you want to, assign to an agent. If they don't have a lender, you want to put a lender in here, what to do with duplicates. So there's some options here that should be paid attention to. And then you can also send a welcome email on import as well, and then subscribe them here. So just, look these over before you import. And once that happens, wherever their destination is between the pipelines and groups, that's going to dictate whether the AI assistant and what smart plans are going to attach to the leads on import and basically work its magic. So with the AI assistant, setting this up is pretty straightforward. I named it, I named it Eve. My name is Adam, so hopefully people get a kick out of the Adam and Eve reference. And I have it set up so that if somebody, because this Chime number, this virtual number to Eve is different than my own Chime number in my CRM. If somebody tries calling Eve, which has happened before, I want that to forward to whoever's agent is assigned that lead. If not, this is my Chime number. So basically, if anybody on my platform doesn't pick up the phone, it's going to come to me, so that lead gets a human being when they need a human being. If a lead is calling, there better be a human being on the other line. Otherwise, your conversion rate's going to drop.
I like that. Adam and Eve.
I gave somebody, or I gave them a stock photo that I grabbed. My settings here are, everybody's got their different interpretation here, but I run mine 24/7 holidays. Like, it's midnight to midnight, 7 days a week. There's third shifters that are going to be on their break at 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 6 in the morning, that are going to be on your website cruising around looking at properties. If they're on my website at 2 in the morning, I want them to be communicated with at 2 in the morning. If they don't want to be communicated with at 2 in the morning, they need to stay off my website. That's the deal. Message delay by default, I always test about 15, 30, 45 seconds. I'm on 30 seconds right now. I did good at 30. I'm probably going to bump it up to 45 next month and just kind of play around and kind of give a little bit more humanization to it. The live chat, so on your Chime website, it will actually engage website visitors in the bottom right. It'll take over your chat bot or your chat box using a chat bot, and it'll display the little picture here. So 30 seconds after somebody's browsing on your website, this is going to pop open with a message from the bot to try and engage. And yes, I have gotten website visitor conversions through the assistant.
So wait, go back, Adam, on that one. Where do you implement that part, like the chat box part? Where?
Right here.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
And then the other ones with the existing lead qualification, 2 points here is, number one, this is only going to engage existing leads based on these criteria that are here. And then make sure that you put like your pipeline here, make sure that you deselect the pipelines of anything that you are basically hands-on communication with. So I have like new leads, I have people that responded to smart plans, but if they're in a high, if there's like right here, if they're within 60 days, I don't want automatic communication to them. I go hands-on with them. That's manual communication only. Anybody that is 90, that's basically outside of 2 months and not ready, I want them to, should I turn these guys off here? I want those to not be communicated with. So it's basically anybody that's a true lead or a prospect is communicated with. Anybody that's not on automation, like they're essentially a client, they need to be getting personal white glove service from me, not the assistant. The assistant is basically you're looking at the assistant as your digital frontline ISA. Is probably the best way that I can describe it succinctly. And then don't worry, this is in beta right here, so don't worry about that. But I don't know if I can talk about that, Randy.
And those of you who are not Chime users right now, just know that there is, and sorry to cut you off, Adam, but those of you who are not Chime users, this is an amazing platform, you guys. There is a special offer through LCA. So please click on the link that actually Tessa just put on. So definitely take a look at that, because this is a very detailed, I mean, we could go on and on and on about Chime. I mean, there's so much data over here, so much information to learn. I'm learning every single day. So yeah, and that's amazing.
Yeah, so then here with the follow-up that's going to happen is once you get your database imported into Chime and they match up with all the pipelines, which are the point at which they are in the transaction, and they match up with the groups of basically how they're a second layer in the hierarchy, and then you've got the tags, which are basically infinitely customizable. Depending on where, what lead type they are, buyer or seller or renter or buyer and seller, what pipeline they're in, and what smart plans you have activated that fit the criteria. So like new seller leads, they're going to get hit up by the assistant. And then my cascading smart plan follow-up is going to basically take it from the initial stage where the assistant, the AI assistant, will engage new leads based on the outcome of that conversation or lack thereof. If they don't respond, the assistant will automatically tag that lead, and that triggers a matching. It's basically, it's like an accessory. So the assistant deals with the initial engagement. Based on that result, it has smart plans that come in and back up the AI initial engagement. And from there, I cascade them again onto my basically barbecue follow-up, as I call it. So it's low and slow. So what happens in the automation step is I get a new lead. Let's say I get a new buyer lead and they just don't do anything. They never respond. What happens is they go in the new leads, the assistant engages them for, I think it's like 5 days or so. They're going to get tagged. I have a group here that tagged. So everybody that gets tagged by the assistant is going to be put in here. And they are, this basically tells me that the assistant has engaged them. There either was a conversation or was not. And then these are the ones that the assistant has finished engaging. They are now on the AI assistant accessory smart plan. So this is a buyer that didn't respond. This is what smart plan she's on. After this, I'm going to hit her low and slow, low pressure, slow going, give her time. She's not ready to buy. That's fine. You're not ready. I'm not ready. I'm looking at minimum a year out as it is in the new market right now. I'm not ready right now. I'm going to be ready in a year. I'm just not ready right now. So then what happens is they get put over to my, at the end of it, they get put over to my buyer not ready campaign. Once they move into the pipeline of not ready, they're nurtured 1 email per month for just about 1 year. Then if no response happens in that year, they get put into a retarget not ready group. And I have a different smart plan that has kind of a good cop, bad cop attitude about it, where it's kind of like, hey man, you said you were going to buy within a year. It's been a year. What's up? To, okay, well, maybe you just didn't understand something. What can I do to help? And it's just kind of that kind of banter back and forth for about another 15 to 18 months. And that's that barbecue method. Is I've got about at least a good 2 to 2.5 year campaign completely automated, that if they don't respond, let Chime take care of them. Let the system figure out who needs to be nurtured and who needs to be dealt with immediately. And then that automation through the smart plans, anybody that responds to a smart plan is right in here. Let me get rid of my filters here. So when I come in the morning and check it, I'm looking at these 3 pipelines because I'm looking, okay, who had a conversation? I'm actually just leaving him in here for a while because he's a hands-on customer. You can see he's a very active lead right now. 132 searches, 130 properties viewed, 1 favorited, 101 emails. This guy's got like an 85% open rate in the CRM for just me. I've never had a CRM before. I've used 4 CRMs. Chime is the only one that's ever gotten a lead to have an 85% open rate on that. So pay attention if you don't have Chime on that one. If you want your emails to get read, Chime it. This guy here responded. So, you know, voicemail drop, all this that came in here. And I know I can basically look at the conversation and see exactly what happened. These two pipelines are manual interaction only. This is once every 7 days. This is once every 14 days. From cold onward to not ready and everything else, that's barbecue. That's barbecue follow-up right there. That's just low and slow, complete automation. They're on the smart plans. They're on the property drip. Leave them be until they raise their hand.
Okay, well, that is I mean, oof. That's what I said. Woof! I think you just vomited on us. I mean, this is amazing. Like
I can talk about smart plan automation and lead follow up in Chime for like 4 hours without taking a breath. Wow. I get super excited about it. So
I'm like, wait, slow down. I think our audience might need some help here.
It's recorded. Just watch it a few times. You'll get it.
Anyway. This is really great. Thank you, Adam. This is amazing. Of the little bit that we just got an insight to Chime. Randy, tell us I know we have just a few more minutes, but I'd love to know, I mean, I'm sure our our audience here would love to know a little bit about Chime, but we do have another question. So Jeff says, I'm a broker and a novice Chime user with a brokerage account and several agent accounts. If I set up a flow like this, AI to smart plan, does that get go from the brokerage account to the agent accounts? He probably means, does this go from the agent account or the brokerage accounts?
Yeah, so it does if you set it up the way I have it. I have a team account here with Chime, and there's two differences in the libraries for Chime. Is my smart plans only apply to me, and there's team smart plans which apply to everybody on the platform. I'm running my system a little bit different. And what I do for these here, I have some like the AI ones. Those are just generic things. I kind of soften some of the language a little bit. But basically, anybody on my platform that uses the assistant, they get the same stuff. But these campaigns here, I'm leaving them. They're in the team library, which is where you would want to put them as a broker. And I have the auto apply off, which allows the agents on the platform to basically look at the conversation that's going to happen here in the situation. Okay, well, I don't like this here. I like to say, hey there. Okay, well then they can pull this plan in to their My Smart Plans, edit it to fit their voice, and then have it follow up the way they would. So if you want to have some that are like, you can have this be basically like, hey, this is just what this is your follow-up that you're gonna say, and then everybody's, you can make it apply to everybody here. Or you can mix it up a little bit and say, hey, look, this is a decent one here. Use that as training wheels to kind of say, hey, this is how I talk to my leads. Maybe you want to make it fit your voice a little bit. So that's how you do that. Is you want to target the destination from the Chime drip campaign library into the team smart plans on your admin account as a broker, and then let people pluck them in from there to their own My Smart Plans. Or if you want to apply it at the team level for everybody on the platform, you would auto apply it on the team smart plans library.
Got it. That was a great answer.
And yeah, and I'm glad that was asked, because it's one of the more common ones when I'm helping agents with Chime setups and telling them, how to work things. Like Chime gives you options that will fit any way that you do business.
It's very lucrative. It's very user-friendly also, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's very user-friendly. And you were saying something. Go ahead, Randy.
Simply, I think that is a great point, Adam, that it is so flexible that it can fit whichever way you do business. But for some people, they may not necessarily know how they do business yet, right? So when you're coming to set up a smart plan within Chime, you need to understand what you're trying to achieve, right? What is the end goal? And then let's work backwards and figure out all the different areas where you may need to critique them to fit that proper style of doing business. Because if you go into the smart plans with the idea of, I'm just going to figure it out as I go along, you're just going to kind of drift and not get anything done.
Exactly. And I think Jeff has a question here. Are there any recruiting smart plans that are available? I can't find any.
There are not any recruiting plans that are available, but I know that you can use smart plans for recruiting purposes.
Awesome. Awesome. And by the way, everyone that's here, please do know that Chime is offering a free personal demo, an exclusive discount to LCA. So I'm totally excited about that. So any last final things we want to say to anyone out here? Adam, anything?
Yes, I will drop. I have a smart plan that I'm using for agent attraction to my team that I'm going to be building this year. After this, probably later on this evening, I will drop that in the LCA group for everybody to pick apart. Again, it's written with my words and my situation. Read it over, use it as training wheels, modify it to fit the way you do business in your own situation, and
That's awesome.
go from there with it. So I'll drop that in later.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Coming from contribution, I love it. Thank you. Randy, thank you so much, buddy.
Janki, it is my pleasure. I love being here. I love being with y'all. It's always a good time to get in front of the LCA group.
Yeah. And I will not forget the barbecue.
I was gonna say that's the only reason Randy showed up is he heard there was something about barbecue, and then he was a little disappointed that it was about barbecue follow-up and not some like.
And I showed up because I've heard so much about this barbecue from Tristan. I'm like, okay, I got to know what this is and who this person is. So, yeah, there you go. Cookout. I'm looking forward to. Yeah. So,
Mark, if you're still here, I know they've got them in Raleigh.
Yeah, there you go. So I know that somebody Jeff, I think Jeff asked, where can we find this recording? It is going to be recorded. Give us 24 hours. It is on our YouTube channel, LCA, LabCoatAgents. Please do subscribe, obviously, to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much, guys. Anything else we want to talk about, or are we done? Any other questions from our audience out there? Okay, there we go. Well, thank you, Randy. Thank you, Adam, as always. I will see you soon, Randy.
All right, thanks for having me on. See ya.
Thanks, Adam. We appreciate it, man.
Bye.
You bet.
We appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. Bye.
Bye.